Oof. Okay, so Guru versus Bly will be a first semifinal. The other semifinal, let's see here, still not set up. But the winner will face live. Okay, now I need to close the door. What part of my knee hurts? I mean, I don't know. Like, I took anatomy classes because I was an artist, but I don't quite remember the parts of the knee because really, to me, it's just the whole knee. It's kind of like, I mean, I see a bump, right? There's literally a bump, and it's like gotten bigger, I think. But it's not bruised, and I don't remember hitting it, and it was like a pain over a certain time. And it's like on the bottom of the kneecap, I guess. No, is that the right word? It's like that part that kind of goes into a V as it goes down to your leg, right? It's right there. I don't know, it feels really weird. It's almost like a little bit of like shin splints, but like above the shin. That's another way I can explain it, I guess. I've never actually gotten full on shin splints, just to be clear. I was never really a runner. But I've heard the pain of actual shin splints. Which sounds disgusting, by the way. When people tell you what it actually is, like oh, God. Anywho, you guys get to eat me see me? Nope, that's not right. You get to see me eat, oh God, yogurt. So, ready for sexy time? Nah. Guru came back in the chat, so I figured that meant he wasn't AFK anymore, but, lobby bug might still exist. I'm still not sure about that. Might be an inflamed articulation. I think Guru, like, moved his mouse so he came back in the chat or something, but it wasn't actually back. So I came back too soon. Oh, whatever. This is now an eating stream. So, donate if you want to see me eat it sexy. I can do sexy. I believe in myself to do sexy. Look at that! My mom tweeted to Rifkin. Nah. She's a nice lady. Well, I tried asking if he's getting the invites, so I really think he's just away. That's great. The good news is that the first map of the semifinals is on Dasan Station, so like almost guaranteed the first map of both semis will take approximately 5 minutes to play. Oh, we finally got there. Okie dokie. He's finally in. It took long and didn't provide me an explanation, but okay, whatever, it's good to go. It's ZvZ on Dasan Station. Oh my good God. And we have the graphs and everything. Oh boy. Three Hesus, thank you. I don't know why people timed him out. He gave me very good medical sound advice. Thank you. Patella. Sure. I'll believe anything anyone says in the chat right now. In the bottom right, kind of, because it's that sensation. It is the Blue Zerg Bly. And in the top left, kind of, it is the Green Zerg Guru. So ZvZ, and of course it's Bly on Dasan Station, probably the only guy, like, any race, probably the only person that actually liked Song Station. Now, I feel like he likes it in the way that, like, wow, this can really benefit me, and this is really funny that everyone else really hates it, so I'm going to use it to my advantage, and that's perfectly fine way to like it, but I don't think he looks at this map, you know, and says, no, guys, like, swear to God, this is actually a great map, and you guys just aren't being open-minded enough. I don't think that's where he's going with it, but, I said early pool, and it is certainly still earlier than Guru, but not the same early pool that was, like, you know, a 12 pool that we could have seen from Bly here. Interestingly enough, they both take the gold bases, which seems very bold. But in ZvZ, it's like, to me, Dasan Station, with how close it is, you know, to each other, it almost forces every matchup to be like a ZvZ, where there's really not that much of a defensive advantage, you know? Like, you make the Ling Wars go down, they can last 5 minutes, they can last 10 minutes, but the Ling Wars mean that, you know, you have like a second to get your reinforcements in, or you just, you know, you've overcommitted because of one small mistake, right? That seems to be what it turns into in all the other matchups. Like, you overtake the tiniest bit with your tanks, and because it is like a 5-second walk to your base, you can't build another tank in that time, right? Where like on Frost, you could actually do that. This kind of way I see the map, but, you know, ZvZ actually on this map is like, I feel like twice ZvZ, right? And Bly, someone who does go for sometimes those Ling all-ins, he might make a mistake, but he also might be just aggressive enough. I say make a mistake, I see him take not the greatest fight there, but he did have a couple Lings reinforcing. Those are the only Lings, though. He actually starts droning right now. But he pulled drones off of minerals, he hasn't actually killed any yet. Got a cancel here, got some scouting done. Was it really worth the earlier pool, as he was down workers? I'm not sure. Actually had a bit of a spike, and now it's going back to Guru, but we'll see. Guru, actually, oh, this is where, like, so see, like, Bly sees this, you know, eventually, maybe, because he still has Lings, right? And, well, his speed only just starts, and that might be a problem. He sees this and is like, okay, so roaches are going to be coming out for X amount of time, plus they're pretty slow, it's really early on in the game, they're not going to be that many of them. I think Masslings could beat that out if it was an offensive Roach Warren from Guru, and that Masslings could also outmaneuver the Roaches if it's a defensive Roach Warren. So I'm not really sure about this Roach Warren. But I guess Bly is going to be going for his own, but that, you know, it's accompanied with Lings, so. We all know what that means with Bly. I will say the one good thing about the Roaches, like, so early on, is that one, they can wall off, so that's pretty cool. Because they both do the gold bases, though, it's not so much about the wall off as it is about, like, having them, like, in a good position, maybe, like, over here, or, this is still pretty wide open, so I don't know about that. There's a lot of Lings on the way. Yeah, Overlord Scouting almost feels like not even important, because the distance is so short between their bases. Yeah, I saw you, thanks for that half-a-second advance notice. Gah. And here's the Ling attack. Remember that Bly also got his Roach Warren, so he could reinforce this with Roaches, but I think that Mass Lings might be the way to go. Chanteuse actually goes down, and the Queens are doing quite a nice job. Finally, the Roaches do pop. They took quite some time, but 15 drones have gone down. There was a lot in that mineral line. The combo over here went down as well. And this looks like it's already... Well, no, actually, I can't say it's already game. It's actually still pretty close in workers. But Bly is reinforcing with a lot of Roaches, and he did manage to take down some of the army with his Lings. That wasn't a case of he targeted the drones specifically and gave away his army for it. No, he got army and he got drones, and he looks to be in a very good position to win this game. I honestly don't know what to expect on Dasan Station. I really don't. As like a Terran player, I kind of like know somewhat about those matchups, but when it comes to like PvP, I don't think we've seen one of those on this matchup yet, on this map yet. I don't think we saw a ZvZ on this map yet either. This might be the first one I've seen, but it really feels like the better aggressor, right, is going to be the winner, and Bly is very good at aggression. You try and defend like you would on Arena, which is also a very short map. It still isn't working out quite the same way. So Guru just taps out. GG. It was a forced first map, which is unique to our weekly cups, and that does sometimes not sit well with players. Especially when it's so, you know, much later into this tournament. If they play Dazzling Sensation against someone that's like in Diamond, I don't think they matter. They don't care as much, but you have to play Dazzling Sensation versus Bly, and that's another issue, I guess. Although with loser's pick, Bly could always choose it himself. Next map's gonna be Frozen Temple. Much more standard. What do you think? Let's get him in here. Other semifinal is still not decided yet. No, Healer and Hio still fighting over it. How. Ready, go. Okay. So ZG has a knee injury and Rifkin broke both arms. Sounds like ZG won the fight. Yeah, I would win that fight. I'd use my speed to my advantage. We're gonna be able to make him Montreal. I'm pretty sure he said 2 weeks, not. Well, oh, I pressed the button that exists on Windows 10 that minimized everything. Actually, that's a good question. 1, 2. Well, I mean, not being able to use your arms to the fullest extent doesn't actually stop you from traveling, but it is obnoxious. But you're right, it's actually in 2 weeks. As far as I know, he's still going. We'll actually we'll find that out later. But first, we have to get through this series, which might be ending sooner. Well, I would say sooner than we thought, but come on, guys, it's blind as ZvZ, and he is going for an early pool. There he is, in the bottom right. He is the red Zerg going for an early pool. It's Bly. Blind fire. On fire, Bly. Top left, going for at least a pool first. He knows the trickery that can happen. It's the green Zerg, Guru. Sorry. Yeah, so, okay, you go for a pool first, because that's gonna give you Lings and Queens a bit earlier, and that's great. That's like, you know, that's the safety net here. Not even a safety net, it's like the thing you're supposed to do, I would say, ideally. But you know, pro Zerg players will tell you that X beats X every single time, and you know, this will always beat this, and this will always lose against this, and this will lose at a certain amount of time to this, and blah blah blah, and they're usually very correct about it. I'll pause a bit. The thing is, though, is that, like, you guys, like, recall back to when, I always use this as an example, because he was one of the guys that actually became a caster, so that was, like, the most important thing. But Idra would do that when he cast, after his pro gaming career kind of got shut down. And he would be like, this always beats this. And then he would be like, oh, I guess not. Because the room for, like, human error, they're kind of assuming won't happen. From our perspective, I think Griffin was here to agree with me, it's so much less about what build beats what, and who beats who, right? Bly is a good early pool Zerg player. He thinks he can do it almost every single game, because he thinks that he can make it work every single game. And that's somewhat true. He makes it work in times when it really shouldn't, that's for certain. But there are people that suck. They'll do the exact build that they're supposed to do against X or Y, and they'll still die to it because they panic, they don't have experience playing against it, they've always had trouble with that certain build, like anything like that. So even though Guru might have an idea of what's going on, and he certainly, I think, does now, right, with Zovlo coming in here, it still depends on his control, and, like, not to freak out and to take things kind of calmly. There's a Ling over there. Yeah, it's a Ling. And we'll see what goes from there. But the Banelings are done morphing now, as we bought enough time for that. And Guru has to try and hold on to his hatchery with just Lings. A couple Queens up there, but point is not his own Banelings is really where I was going with that. 2 Banelings explode. Three, actually. They take out the Queen. Also tried to take out the Lings, of course. That was their main objective. But I wonder if that was worth it. The Sprinkler wasn't quite done. That might have been able to help, you know. 1 or 2 less Banelings, actually a big deal. Queen gets in the best position possible, and it looks like Guru, remember that he has a lot of drones to lose and an entire hatchery to lose. So he really has to actually just completely fall down and die to really lose to this build. It looks like he's got this on under wraps. Good focus fire from that queen, kills the second baneling. There are 2 more on the way, and Bly is not giving up. He is super all-inning with this. But I'm not sure it's going to work. He's really going to have to just surprise Guru with his dedication. Transfuse actually won the Spinecrawler, I think. And that's what happened. Barely caught it, but once again, another queen pops out. Another queen pops out. So they can now block the ramp without the help of the Lings. And while Bly's trying to get as many banelings as possible to break him, I don't think it's going to happen. Guru, he got that Spinecrawler as soon as he knew something was up. He kept on producing queens as well, so there's never a point where it was like, oh shit, there's something to block. Suddenly everything gets topsy-turvy because there's 6 Lings in the main base and 12 in the natural. And this has been a pretty good showcasing of what you have to do against the Baneling Ling speed. All lane on one base. Oh no, Overload shouldn't die. He's gonna go in for it, but it's really just like 4 Banelings. You can't just say like explode on everything, please. You know, 4 Banelings actually have to pick and choose, and what do you choose to use them on? Transfuse is going the Spinecrawler. It's still gonna die, but it's killed so many Lings at this point. It's totally been worth it. The Banelings are actually kept alive. He wants to kill the Lings that are reinforcing from Guru more than he wanted to splash down the Spinecrawler. But both options are going to be very tricky ones for Bly to make this work. Guru is so confident, by the way, that he's actually joined up a little bit. He made, I think, 6 drones in the past minute. Loses 2. Okay. Still up 10 workers. And Bly's gonna know, you know, the first attack doesn't work, second attack, third attack, fourth attack doesn't work. That's when Bly starts to think like, okay, maybe it won't actually work. But it's also that point of time where there's no return. You know, maybe you do this build and they're totally prepared and you don't build the Banelings, you try and play a macro game. Maybe. But even that doesn't really work out. One is, you know that this eventually is going to just fizzle. And it's close to fizzling. Gets a queen. Nice. And hell, if you could get the hatchery, that would be a start. But Guru will always have the queens. He'll always have the hatchery, apparently. And he'll always have better drone counts, so even if you get the hatchery, it wouldn't have worked out. Guru now has speed, by the way. That's something really highlighted, but you can see that. And he's going to have more production. So Bly has lost at this point for surezies. But he can be one of those guys who just says, no, I can do it. No, I can do it. No, I can do it. But he actually can't. And that leads to longer games than some others. I would say Guru could be over-dedicating, but I actually don't think that's true. Again, the thing is, even if the hatchery went down, right? Like, that's the best case scenario for Bly right now, is like, he clicks on it and it dies. You still have the queens to defend, you still have a Spinecrawler to defend. In fact, he's building more Spinecrawlers. This is actually almost BM. This is almost like, I hope an Overlord sees this to know just how much money I can kind of waste. These are actually Spore Crawlers. So that's definitely BM, right? Look how much money I can waste because I've held this, so get out of the game, but there's no Spore Crawler. Or there's no Overlord, so... If an Overlord did go through, it definitely died of the Spore Crawler. This is Bly's last hurrah. Pretty sure. He's got Baneling coming in from every angle. Oh god. Oh dear. Oh my goodness. Can Guru hold? I think he can. His army supply is pretty deceiving. It actually looks very close, but... Always consider the Spinecrawlers and the power of Queen transfuses. Spinecrawlers do go down because they're pretty close to each other. Guru went for a counterattack, and Bly, I think, realized, like, hey, where are your Lings? Where'd they go? So he runs back home. And say, like, a single Baneling takes out Guru's 20-ish Lings. Bly might be able to continue the attack and might be able to do something, but there wasn't one Baneling. And the Queen is going to go down. That's pretty important. Bly is going to have trouble, a lot of trouble, getting larva. He does take out a good portion of the Lings. I'll give him that with one of those Banelings. Loses 3 drones, down to 9. God. Does still have a lot of Banelings left over, and now has a bit of an army supply lead, but we also now have roaches. So again, army lead deceiving. More spine colors are finished. I don't know why he keeps on doing this. I mean, I know why, but I also am just like, maybe you should actually spread them out. They make it even longer, clearly, you know? But, no, that's the length he likes it. Anyway, it's gonna die. It's very, oh god. It's gonna die. Transfuses do go into the other spine crawler, though, and the queens. And this does not work. GG! Alright, Suguru takes it back. And I know I've missed a couple of things. So let's see here. Nightshade donated $10. You know what the fans want. Thanks for streaming as always. Rad. What's up, Nightshade? Yeah, that was, you know, sexy. Eat and stream. M895C is resub for 9 months. And Kikai sub for 4 months. Thank you so much. Yeah, and Twitch is not picking up the text for whatever reason. If you guys actually said anything. Hope you didn't. Never mind. Okay, Guru needs 3 minutes. Probably go to a break anyway, so that's okay. It is Bly's map choice now. Unfortunately, can't re-choose Tasson Station. So we'll have to see what he does choose. Thanks to Juna for the 14-month resub. And we'll be back in 2 minutes, hopefully, with the final game ready to go. Welcome back. Guru's ready to go. Great. So we'll be getting into this in a second. The other semifinal is now ready. Hino 2-0'd Healer, which you might be saying, why did it take so long? That's really weird. Didn't that start like before this started, before the last match started? Maybe. But Healer does play mech, so it can take a long time. It's gonna be King Sejong Station. That was Bly's map choice. See if it has any tricks up his sleeve. This was my favorite map for a while because there was like this really stupid clever roll thing you could do where you break on the back rocks and flood with lings and they don't scout it. That time has really come and passed though. You know, because basically it's not that early of an attack, to be honest, and you can get an overload over there, just that people didn't bother initially. Now people do bother to put an overload over there, so it's usually scouted. But I remember that actually won Jaedong a game and a comeback, and it was pretty cool. I'm just throwing it out there. I remember a lot of Jaedong games. All right, 1-1 in the top right. That's the top left. Top left has the red Zerg. He is Bly. In the bottom right as the green Zerg, he's Guru. Alrighty then. I should have gotten water during that break. But life is full of regrets. Regrets. Alright, so Bly not going for an early pull here. I didn't really expect him to. When I thought more trickery, I thought more like that Ling thing I was talking about, right on the back rocks, or just like an old-fashioned Ling Baneling, or Ling Baneling Roach all in, rather. Now, Bly can play a macro game. I don't mean to say that he always does this stuff, but it's you know, some people, I guess, they'll take being called aggressive as just like, oh, you really mean I'm cheesy and, you know, F you type of deal, I guess. Or some people might, you know, take that away when they hear it on a cast. Like, oh, they're saying aggressive when really they mean a cheesy, you know what. But when it comes to Bly, it's kind of like that kind of aggressive cheese you gotta respect, I suppose. It's like, to me, it's like Leenock, I guess. If you remember the years ago, 2-3 years ago, oh god, maybe even more, holy crap. Leenock was this kind of like little obnoxious little kid that was like cheesing and god, just Baneling bust everywhere, and you know, Baneling drop was the cool thing to do. And then he started actually winning a lot of stuff, and he was aggressive, he was a little bit weird with his builds, but everyone really started to love him. It's kind of where I put Bly at, because it wasn't just like he could only rely on the cheese. If you're gonna win big tournaments, you're not just cheesing, and that's where I think that they just become enjoyable players to watch, not necessarily cheesy players to watch. Right? That's kind of the line that's drawn. Because I don't know about you guys, that line was never, or what it was crossed. The line was crossed. No, the line wasn't crossed. I messed up my own analogy. The line wasn't crossed between cheesy player and like aggressive fun player to watch for me when it came to like Haas, however you want to say his name. I never enjoyed watching that guy play, but I know a lot of other people did, because it just became fun territory instead of just like, oh, this guy can't do anything else but cheese. I was always that person in Twitch chat. This guy can't do anything but cheese. Dude, he's so bad. Yeah. But Bly, Leenock, Flash crossed that line a while ago, I suppose. He actually started off as a really cheesy kid. But, I guess not many people were around for that. Or learned about that. It is a macro game, so that's why I'm kind of just talking a little bit off topic. Third base come down for both players. The question, of course, is always, will they both use it as actually droning and minerals and gas and stuff? As this is going to be a little bit tricky. Now, Guru makes Lings, I think initially to take care of this, but also he was planning on trying to tear down Bly's third. He's making a lot of Lings. This is way past just defensive. He's also got speed, he's got a Baneling Nest, and he could definitely, I think, done absolutely correctly, tear down Bly's third base. We'll see what Bly has to say about it, though. He has his own Lings on the way and a Roach Warren. And I think he does know this is on the way. He sees a couple too many Lings chasing these two, and he knows. But it's just about... Oh god, it's just about actually defending well. The Roaches will not have a problem with the Banelings, but the initial Ling defense from Bly will, so you have to be very careful there. One Baneling gets in here, injures the drone, so they're all one shot. I think one went down there, that's funny. Yeah, there he goes, he peels off a Ling, that's really cool. Queen will go down. The other Queen should survive. And Guru did not super dedicate to this. I don't think. Well, I didn't think he did, but there's actually more Lings on the production tab. I guess there was just that odd little gap that seems to exist with Larva, where they do want to commit, but there's not that huge string of Lings coming across, you know? It's actually kind of this odd little period. But Guru is still making Lings. He did get up to 32 drones, though, so he can like afford to do this without really losing out in the economy game. But Bly now has a good number of Roaches, and as long as they're in a good position, so basically they can't be surrounded, or they're, you know, just in the natural and the third base, I don't think he's gonna lose anything. Drew is also advancing his own tech, getting to those Roaches. Starting to drone as well. They're back to the droning phase after that little scuffle. Bly has this one thing going for him, we didn't have to get our Baneling Nest. But sometimes that can be a problem if they go for like a Ling Baneling Roach all-in. Sometimes you do wish you had your own Banelings, just to make dealing with theirs a little bit easier. But it looks like Guru is not going to be going for that. He's building more drones as the supply is available. Gonna lose an Overlord here. That sucks. Lair comes down first for Bly. We'll see if Guru goes towards it, or if he just stops droning and makes nothing but units. He's actually putting a Spine Crawler and units right now, but of course this Overlord is seeing a lot of units move around, and he's got to be fearful of that. Initially, his armor supply did not look very good at all. And links it into the third base. Not going to do too much. Guru's still not going for a lair. McMarspan. Thanks for the 5-month resub, Kappa. Oh, I had a temp fan on, it was really hot. Alright, so it is an Evolution Chamber though. Over there? Is there no lair? Not crazy. I'm not crazy. Guru's still droning too though, so it's like kind of middle of the road. Bly's gonna get to Aspire, and that's something that Guru might not, well, might not scout, first of all, but also might not be able to defend against. But if he does just commit now entirely to Army, he could hit Bly before the mutas are done and ready to go, but he's still not fully committing to Army. There's drones on the way. I'm actually not sure what Guru Like, I keep on looking for this lair. I don't think Bly got, like, that super of a lair. Super early of a lair. I missed a word. I own a word. That, you know, I'm gonna be yelled at, like, oh, he doesn't need it right now? But I would expect him to have gotten it by now. Just... It's a little odd. Does have +1 on the way. And now he is building nothing but units and lings. He's got up to 56 drones. That's going to be pretty good for 3 bases. Bly had a similar drone count. But Bly, you know, that Spire's almost done. And I really would have expected this attack, you know, without the lair to happen sooner. That's really where I was, like, kind of like question mark. Like, is he going to go for this big attack? Or is he just waiting for something that I don't know what he's waiting for? And the answer is he is going to go for the attack, but just a bit too late, maybe. The thing is that, keep in mind, this isn't just, like, you know, spine crawlers holding on while Bly gets mutas. He has his own ground army that can compete with Grus for some time. You add on the mutas, and that's just free damage, basically. They can chase these units, and they can actually start to really kill them, too, if they stay in one place. But Ling's in here. You're gonna be able to buy some time. They're gonna be able to scout the Spire, too. Mutas are out, and Guru, despite the lair timing, does have a lair now. You could throw down a Hydralisk Den, or an Infestation Pit. He's getting more queens. He's gonna be an Infestation Pit first. A 4th base is a little bit reaching, because the Mutas should be able to deny that, but we'll see. Bly's really gonna start taking control over the game. He just made 15 drones, and he should be getting his own 4th base. Yeah, he's just waiting for it right now. As that's what the mutas give you, especially when you're given this position almost. So, like, I don't want to be critical of Guru, right? But, like, usually we see this almost hold from the person going for a Spire. And it's like, well, did losing the 3rd base do enough damage? Did losing 20 drones do enough damage? Did losing his ground army do enough damage for the non-muta player? But that question's not really ever being asked here, and that might not be a terrible thing. We've seen games go to mid-late game when one person gets some mutas, the other doesn't. It just seems like much more commonly, you just hope they never get some mutas. Because dealing with these things would be a big pain, tell you what. Bly's actually moving in here with his ground army, though, and I don't think that's the thing to do. He is still losing out on the ground war. I think getting a 4th base and getting some lings to the 3rd base was going to be a lot better. He does not lose too much for the attempt, however, so I guess that's not so bad. Infestors are on the way, Hydralisk are on the way, and Guru is still getting to that, like, really good army. You know, Roach, Hydra, Infestor, maybe some Queens. That is an army that's actually straight up going to be better than Bly's, I think. Even if Bly has 30 mutas, all it takes is like 2 good fungals plus the damage of the Hydralisk, and they're gonna pop, right? But Bly, he's gonna have to try and do something of his own, right? He's gonna advance his tech, he's gonna get to like a hive, he's gonna do something so that when push comes to shove, when Guru finally gets maxed out and pushes, he won't just be like, oh shit, I was stuck too long on mutas. If targeting the Infestors, though, oh my god, I can't believe he's actually able to do that. They didn't come with Patching Gland, so I guess it was like probably like a couple energy short of attacking, and he's actually going to take this fight. The mutas are adding a lot of extra damage. There was about 14 of them at the start of this. They're taking on the Hydralisk now, of course, so they're losing in number down to 12, almost 11. I almost died. But again, Guru's army, ground army, was really never that terrible, so it was always a little bit like, oh, should he really take this fight? Bly had an upgrade for his mutas, not his ground, whereas Guru did. I don't know. Guru's about to have 2-1 too. So, 2-1 as well, I should say. His ground army's still looking fine. Ah, lurkers. Okay, so this is, I think, like, either you go up to Hive and try to get to Ultralisk, or you go for lurkers. Seems to be, like, they're just, like, units you can get to that's almost a full stop for Guru's army. You know, Guru's army walks into, like, 17 lurkers, you're not gonna push into that. It walks into 6 ultras, you're not gonna push into that. Or you're gonna have to be very confident to push into it anyway. But, you see a Roach Hydra Muta army, Guru probably does still push into that, right? And tries to take a good fight, and might even win off that fight. The other options are much, much scarier. So I like the Lurker Den. Bly, of course, did take this 4th base a while ago, and he's had this really quite good drone count, so he does have room still. You know, Guru not having a 4th base. This is really why playing against mutas can be frustrating, and why we see those all-ins that fizzle very shortly after they don't work, right? is that the game of mutas is really a fizzle game. Either they fizzle out because they couldn't get to mutas fast enough. Oh, the fungal though. Oh, the fungal though. Or you fizzle out because you are being contained on 3 bases and outmaneuvered and out-economied. But Bly might be making a mistake here. He's really not taking a good fight with this. So such a big army for Guru and such a small one for him, especially after losing a good chunk of mutas, that he could be making a mistake. You know, that he still doesn't have those lurkers that just says, okay, well, you push into me, go ahead and try. He's only remaxing with those roaches, which are inferior to Guru's army, right? Especially with the upgrades. This is a very scary point in Bly's game. It's a best of 3, too. Sometimes only best of 3. But there aren't any infestors, and mutas can take on Hydralisk in small numbers, you know, kind of hit and run style. Bly is committing more to the mutas. I actually really like this choice. If he can't get to the lurkers, which it seems like he can't, there's just not enough time, then commit fully to the mutas, because there's not any infestors anymore. That last one was targeted. The hydras are running out as well. And while the roaches might be able to take down the 4th base, they're still going to die for it. And that might be something Bly's okay with. What is this count up to now? 21. Infestor does pop out, though, and a lot more hydras. And he just lost a good chunk of those mutas. About 7 of them went down right there. Back down to 15. And it looks like Bly might just be losing this game, overcommitting, trying to get to lurkers, and then never actually getting to lurkers. And their fungal goes down to those mutas, and they can't hit and run against those hydras. More Ravagers are on the way. I guess spellcasting also to ability that can buy you some time, but I think Guru's got this. Guru's also, at the very least, he's finally expanded, and that's something that he was originally not going to ever get. If this push didn't work, he's gonna have to very slowly expand and maybe never get to it if the muta control is really on point. But his push did work. And now he has a place to transfer his main and natural drones to, and he has consistent production behind this, even if his army does get cleaned up. And Bly, I think, was just a little too overzealous with that ground army. He's gonna try, though, of course. Down 50 supply. But, I mean, you see that, you know, if this was like a Baneling style, where there weren't roaches in the ground, but rather like 20 Banelings, Guru's in a very dangerous position of having gone way too many Hydras. But that's not the case. So, more Hydras actually are fine. They still have a little bit of fodder from the roaches, too. And they're gonna absolutely slaughter the mutas, and this is it. Guru's gonna go to the finals, rather. This is the semifinals. That might just guarantee us a TVZ. You'll see how the live does in the other semi. If Live's using on all his drones. Down to 24. Oh no. He's not in his bases. Goodbye, base. Goodbye, base. Finally trying to make a lurker. I mean, better late than never, I suppose. But now Guru also, by the way, can afford, because he's on the 4th base, he can afford going to his own hive. And, you know, if he can get to Ultralisk, then he never has to worry about lurkers. But honestly, I don't think he has to worry about lurkers right now anyway. He's like quadrupling the supply of Bly. I think that's enough to overpower a single lurker. You know? I guess a counterattack was not a bad idea. Not enough units to do anything with it. Not even sure how he has 19 army supply. A couple Lings, a single Hydra, that 1 lurker. You go, buddy. You go. You wiggle that butt. There's no Overseer. I was gonna say, maybe, hey, no Overseer, but there's also the option of a Spore Crawler being moved up. The fungal can slowly deal damage to the lurker. I don't know, it's a single lurker. Can't really hype this up too much. Lings, nope, not gonna work. Nope, sorry. There we go, GG! Guru brings it back after losing the first game. Advances to the finals. Top 4 payout for Corsair Cup, though, so... Bly doesn't leave without anything. He has at least something going for him. But that's gonna send us into their semifinal. Remember, the first map is on Dasan Station. I'll get that set up as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll be back in probably like 2 minutes.